Ladies and gentlemen, the Solana ecosystem call. Tonight, Google, the Japanese government, Dialect, Hivemapper, Degenerate Ape Academy, and more. With your host, Kash Donda.
Please hold your applause. Please. That's plenty. Please. Really take your seats. That's all right. Please. I appreciate it, but thank you. All right. Shout out to the Jars. Drop a little GM in the chat. We are having a good time already. The vibes are feeling right. I know it's early on the East Coast. It's late in Japan and elsewhere, but the GMs are flowing. It's good to have people here and energized as always. All right. Here's the agenda. It's a long one, so I'm not even going to waste any more time talking about this. I am going to just get into it. Okay, let's start off with a quick reminder. There's a $50 standing bounty always for this call. If you make a recap thread and submit it, the best one will get $50. So shout out to you. It's also just a great way to share the gospel of Solana with a lot of other people in the ecosystem. So let's go ahead and get started with, I think everybody's, at least if not favorite, second favorite piece of this call, which is the wins of the month. I see some preliminary W's already getting put into the chat. Shout out to Julian. One quick reminder, if you are here in Zoom, you have to set your chat to everyone. By default, it's just to hosts and panelists, which is great. We can all see it, but it'd be even more fun if the other, few hundred people on this call could see it as well. All right, excuse me. Let me take one sip of coffee because I know I'm going to need this before we go. All right, let's do it. Fine, folks, we have some wins. I want to start off with some really powerful kind of numerical wins. I don't know if you can feel it as well, right? But there's some energy starting to come back into the ecosystem now. Here's one of my favorite stats from the past month. We added 6.6 million new wallets in May alone to the Solana network, right? Which is the most that have been added since July of 2022. That means things are brewing. I see Kadeem saying sheesh in the chat, and that is absolutely right. Drop a little W in here for all the people who are actually using Solana. Now, obviously, is every one of these a real human being? No, many of these are bots, multiple wallets, and so forth. But what we're seeing is renewed interest and a lot of people coming back for the first time in a long time. So love to see that net new addition. And a lot of the guests on this call right now are responsible for it, whether it's from a DePIN angle, consumer angle, and others. Win number 2, trading activity is also returning very quickly. As you can see, Camino Finance just tweeted this yesterday, up almost 300% week on week, and now putting us back into 4th place on trading activity. People are starting to trade here, and Camino Finance themselves, big shout out to them, a little W in the chat for them here. They hit $1 billion in all-time volume, which we love to see as well. But still, a lot of people starting to, or more and more people using Solana, which we love to see. And then finally, we have OpenBook crossing $500 million in total trading volume. For people that don't know the story of OpenBook, it was there built in like a week to replace Serum. Crazy effort by the community. Shout out to Max from Mango and all the contributors that helped him, Soju and many others, which is just awesome stuff there. So the activity is coming. The life is starting to brew again. We like to see this, yeah? Let's take out win number 4 here, which is a community win. Now, this could have gone the other way. I'll tell you that right now. For those of you who didn't see, Metaplex, which is one of the OGest of OG companies and protocols in Solana, added some protocol fees earlier in the month. The community did not love it, to say the least. There's a lot of kind of intense pressure. And to Metaplex's credit, shout out to them. This is the W that they deserve, changing in response to the way that the community felt. And I think that is worth a W. Drop a little W in the chat for our friends at Metaplex. They sure deserve it for making it real. So shout out to them, as well as everyone else in the community who made their voice heard and affected change. That is the whole beauty of this Web3 thing. Win number 5, another community effort here. Magic Eden has open sourced its marketplace contract, which is great. More people can build more things on top of it now. I know the Tensor Boys in particular were really pushing on this one, so shout out to them and shout out to Magic Eden for doing the right thing. Tiff is in the building for Magic Eden. Tiff is the Solana GM for Magic Eden. If you are making NFTs, if you care about NFTs, go hit up Tiff on Twitter as well, or say hi to her in the chat right now. Drop a little GM for Tiff in the chat. We love to see that. All right, then we go over to win number 6, which is that Breakpoint tickets are live. Super Team is going to have a very fun party. I'm not at liberty to discuss exactly what it is right now, but I can promise you we got something crazy going on, and a bunch of other people do as well. So come and get that. It is kind of expensive. If you are a developer or a student, you get discounted tickets. And if you're neither of those things, just stick around to the ecosystem call. We're giving away a free ticket a little bit later today. Yeah. Okay. Win number 7 Token 22 has arrived, which is very fun. Let me make this extremely clear. This is not financial advice. Here we are celebrating the W of innovation and experimentation. That's really what we're trying to celebrate here, not any particular coin. Gnome and the Burn Gang are always trying new shit. Burnsy is a great Twitter follow. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen to the token? Oh, sorry. And that's my first swear counter. Who the heck knows what's going to happen to the token? But we love to see it. Token 22 is an evolution of the SPL standard. It allows you to do a bunch of new things like adding in default fees and many other cool things. I'm sure we'll hear more about it later on. Yeah, the swear jar is filling up, says Harsh. That's already right. Okay, so shout out to Nam here. John Wong from the Solana Foundation also in the building, an OG legend, did a lot of work on the compression NFT. Is it pronounced Gnome or Nam? Nam, can you clarify in the chat, or if any of the speakers know? I always say Nam. I think it's Nam, right? Chris, do you know?
Nam.
It is Nam, right?
Or
right, yeah.
Gnome's gonna correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's Nam.
If it is Gnome, then we all kind of look a little silly right now, but so it goes. But shout out to Nam and the rest of the team there. Win number 8, which is wild. Solana Labs shipped a ChatGPT plugin, a little AI crypto crossover, and more importantly, there is a $10 million grant fund for people building AI tools right now. If you want to get involved with that, please go check out the Solana Labs and the Solana Foundation. They are going to throw money at you for free to build cool new things. I'm also very interested in this, so if you're building at the intersection of crypto and AI, shoot me a DM as well. Would love to see it. Win number 9. Here we get into the shipments, and boy, have people been shipping in the past month. Light Protocol v3 has been shipped to testnet, which is the first ZK layer enabling private program execution. So you can build something without a ZK rollup. That's a W. Put that in the chat right now. There we go. Then we have Fire Dancer reaching a new milestone with FD Quick. Do people know about Fire Dancer? People seen this? People heard about Fire Dancer? Can I get a little Fire Dancer emoji in the chat as well? If anyone see that? As Ohas is pointing out, Kevin motherfucking Bowers was on the last podcast, validated, very worth checking out. Fire Dancer is coming. Oh, did I swear again? Chris is saying I swear again. I apologize. That's 2. It will not hit 3. Let's be honest, it's going to hit 3. It will not hit 10 though. I will try not to hit 10. Anyway, shout out to the Fire Dancer gang. And then also a W in the chat for ANS domains, which is now live in Soulflare and Phantom. They allow you to have a custom namespace. Namespace are those little like domains, those TLDs as they're known in Web 2. So they've helped the .bonk team, .por, .abc, and many others. Love to see that. More integrations here means more options for everyone all around the ecosystem. Vlad Tony from the ANS protocol doing a little Spider-Man meme pointing at himself with a W, but a W indeed. Phantom has shipped sign-in with Solana, which is hopefully going to make security and UX buttery smooth. So shout out to the Phantom team as well. A lot of good stuff happening on the wallet side. Drop a little W in the chat for them and for Unvit, super team contributor himself. Win number 13, our friends over at Otter, old-time guests on the ecosystem call, they shipped Bank Connect, which means you can now directly on and off ramp in the US from your bank account into crypto. Super seamless. Send it anywhere in the world. Bring it onto Solana, put it into USDC. And it's just the best remittance app in the world, which is pretty incredible. So a very little W, says Vishal. I think that's a solid W from Otter. Win number 14, I can't believe we went this long without shouting out Vibu, DJ and Poet, and the rest of the gang. I see drip, drip, drip in the chat. That's right. Drop a little drip into the chat if you have signed up. If you have not signed up already, what are you doing? Drip has now minted over 2.5 million compressed NFTs or NFTs in general. I think they're doing like 900,000 this week or 90,000 this week, something crazy. They got music coming on there, and they've just shipped a patronage option as well. I think it is one of the most used apps on Solana. It's one of the most fun apps on Solana. Go use it. It's great. And it's free as well. That's the best part. And then Bullish on Drip says Veets in the chat. That's right. Tony saying CNFTs so hot. That's also true. And then finally, win number 15, the Vietnam Creator DAO has officially launched. Shout out to Super Team Vietnam for helping push this effort forward along with the rest of the local community. Drop a little W in the chat if you want to see more Vietnamese creators coming on board to Solana. Whew. Oh man. My voice is already kind of sore if I'm being honest, but that is it for the wins of the week. Hopefully your mind has been blown and those little sound effects help as well. Did we miss anything? Can you put it into the chat if we missed any wins of the week here. What else did I not include? You're going faster and faster, Cash. Need to keep up. That's right. Fishy Greed. Greed is fantastic. Marinade Ship Direct Steak. Shout out to Brandon Tucker. I saw that as well. That is super cool. Marinade doing some nice things. Mad Lad Staking is coming online, I think, very soon. Cruise. And then TipLink, of course. TipLink is the greatest. If you've been to ecosystem calls before, you know how fun TipLink is. Easiest way to onboard people with wallets that they don't even have to create, which is great. Somebody is asking for my phone number in the chat, which is a pretty clear sign that I should stop talking and move on now. So let's move on now. Oh, sorry. Hold on. My apologies, folks. We had a last minute addition, a breaking news win of the month was added here, and a very important one as well, actually. So CandyPay, Super Team Project, is now powering crypto payments for taxes in Honduras. Get a little W in for CandyPay. This is one of those things that I read. I'm like, how is this even real? You can pay your taxes with Solana in Honduras? And it was made by a team of young Chads, there's no other way to say it, in India. Vampo, I think, is like 20 years old, maybe a little bit younger. And now they're powering taxes in Honduras. That's crazy. And a giant W, well deserved over there. All right, with that said, let's start to move over to the next segment here, which is the state of Solana. Real quick over here, you can see some stats about the network at large. The big one to point out, those active wallets up 60% month on month, which is pretty wild. And I think our next guest is going to be sharing a little bit more about that and some other fun facts about Solana. So I would like everybody to join me in welcoming our first guest of the day. This guest is a fan of three things, I would say. He is a major fan of decentralization, been in the game, been in crypto for something like 10 years, if not longer at this point. He is a major fan of onboarding people to Solana and has started the Step DAO and the Step Ambassador program, which is one of the best onboarding experiences anywhere in the world. And number three, he's a big fan of talking about himself in the third person on Twitter. That's really the only way he tweets here. Please drop a little GM in the chat for my buddy, CEO and founder of Step Finance, George Harrop, to tell us about the stats. George, how you doing, boss?
I'm great. Look, GM, George is happy to be here. And I wish there was a way to emote in Zoom, because I just want to be spamming emotes all across the screen all day long.
Next time, but we'll put in a word with the team. But
Absolutely.
Tell us, George, what's going on right now on Solana on the stat side that's caught your interest?
Yeah, right. So we put together some of these stats, interesting things from the ecosystem. You know what? One really good thing in a bear market to do is to be making money, right? Because it's a product market fit thing. It's also very important for the longevity of projects, right? So we picked out some of these revenue stats. Now, revenue also a very interesting number, but Famous Fox Foundation, they're making a lot of cash from a whole bunch of different sources. Great to see. They have various raffles, flip, royalty stuff going on. So yeah, 50K in a week. Amazing. So really hope that continues. But yeah, good to see more projects finding this PMF. People like to talk about this a lot, product market fit, right? So I thought this was a very interesting stat.
Crazy.
So yeah, next we've got, well, we're on the NFT theme, right? Solana's all about NFTs these days. So a bit about the volume of NFT lending. So we've got borrowing volume, 301,000 Solana. Now, what does borrowing volume mean? Well, it's people taking loans, right? So actually the amount staked is probably a lot higher than that, right? Because not all loans are at 100% utilization. So very interesting stat. Sharky, Citrus doing a really good job there. So happy to see. And yes, next, Polygon. A lot of people like to compare these two, right? So we thought, well, let's just do that, right? So daily fees paid. Solana, there's a lot of activity on chain. There's a lot of people that we saw the number of wallets mooning, right? Was it 6 million wallets or something?
6.6, in fact.
That's amazing. So yeah, look, let's keep that number up. But yeah, basically NFT volumes also very much ahead on Solana, which is good to see. So let's hope that momentum continues. And then finally, we've got some of the DEX stats as well. We can't leave our DeFi crew out in the lurch. But look, volumes are really good. They're a lot better than where they were 6-8 months ago, something like that. At the peak of FTX madness and all of the nonsense things happening there. But hey, number go up. So good to see. So yeah, almost double, almost 2x in terms of the volume. So over a billy, which is great to see. So these are some of the stats. Very interesting things to keep an eye on chain. We run Step and Step Data Insights, so go check it out. But yeah, keep doing those transactions.
Please do. Go check out Step, the best source for data analytics here. I just launched a little poll. I'm curious how the group is feeling here on the most impressive stat here. What blew your mind the most? Was it Famous Fox Federation doing $50K a week in revenue? Was it the NFT DeFi stuff taking off? Solana has more fees paid than Polygon, even though our fees are significantly lower than Polygon fees are. Yeah. So that tells you something about the amount of action that's happening there, or DEX volume as the centralized exchanges start to lose here. Let's see. Not allowed to vote, says Nikki Scans. Wrecked. Oof. It's a tough thing, I gotta say. Let's see here. We have, let's go 3, 2, 1. I think we have, what is this? We got 350. Yeah, let's close this off here. All right, it's a tight race here, but in the end, it does end up going to the one and the only, the Famous Fox Federation, which is pretty wild.
Crazy stat.
Absolutely unbelievable. So shout out to those guys building a great business as well. Drax was on the ecosystem call not but 2 or 3 weeks ago. How is it possible to have so much more volume when TVL has gone down so much? Because people are using the network, moving it back and forth, and that's what we like to see as well. All right, shout out to George. Thank you so much, George. Keep up with him. Great Twitter follow, by the way, as well. Follow George on Twitter if someone can drop that into the chat. That would be sick. All right. We are going to get to our special guest here in just a second, the craziest special guest we've ever had, all due respect to previous special guests. Before we do, I want to tell you guys one thing about this ticket giveaway. Every ecosystem call from now until breakpoint, we will be giving away a free ticket. These things are worth $1,000. Here's how you enter the giveaway. You got to get the POAP at the end of the call. You got to tweet a screenshot of your POAP in your wallet and tag Kimosabi and tell them why you want to go to breakpoint. And then within the next few days, we'll pick someone at random, tweet it out, and they will be joining us. So this is only for people who come to the ecosystem call, get the POAP. You can get it from Zoom. You can get it from Twitter as well. And then you should be fine. This will be very fun. Okay. With that said, let's go on to our next guest, our very esteemed guest, I will say. I'm truly thrilled because for the first time ever, we have a government representative appearing on the ecosystem call. Like, do people understand how crazy that is? That we have like somebody who believes in crypto coming on. It's like 10 p.m. right now in Japan as well. So we appreciate that as well. I would love for everyone, I did a little Googling before the call. And apparently GM in Japanese is Ohio. I hope I'm saying that right. Please do not get mad at me if my pronunciation is wrong. Drop a little Ohio in the chat for our very esteemed guest, Waka Itagaki Toyohara-San from the Japanese government. Itagaki-san, are you with us and able to tell the folks about the Japanese government's position on crypto?
Yes, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Ohio, even though it is the middle of the night for you, Ohio to you. Welcome. I have your slides up on this side, so I'll be progressing for you, but please take it away.
Thank you so much. I'm Waka Itagaki from Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry. This is my very first time to join Solana ecosystem call, and I was so surprised that this call is a kind of very exciting, a kind of like party-like call. As a government official, I feel I'm a kind of in an away game, but very honored to be here. And then I'll speak about the Japanese government efforts toward Web3 and then maybe how our Solana ecosystem, our community members can collaborate with Japan.
You're telling me this is not what all your government events are like? You guys don't also blast rap music at the beginning? That was a joke. Sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. So as the Japanese government as a whole, Prime Ministers made a speech in London about Web3, and then we featured Web3 as a key technology towards innovation. LDP, Japan's ruling party, is pushing Web3. They set up a Web3 project team, and their white paper on Web3 is very well written. And so if you have time, please take a look at it. There is a QR code here on the next. Yeah, so we also see some interest from business side as well. There are a lot of Japanese large companies who are interested in Web3, including IT companies, financial institutions, and some IP holders as well. especially Docomo, who is planning to invest 4 billion USD in Web3 in the next 5 years. The next, please. Maybe you are curious why we are so keen on Web3 in Japan. The next, please. It's because Web3 is very compatible with Japan's key strengths, mainly the content and creative side. Also, as you already know, Japan has rich culture, auto IP holdings, gaming industry is very strong. So those parts of Japan's strengths are very compatible with Web3, especially NFTs are very hot issue in Japan. The next, please. So Japanese government is trying to address some key Web3 policy issues, including some regulation reform and also tax system reform and others. The next, please. So last year, especially in terms of tax system reform, we made changes on the tax system, and then now the token issuance is much easier to do. And also regarding the regulations, we clarify the scope of the digital assets regulations, and now it's easier to issue NFTs and do some kind of proof of concept things in Japan. And also we are now tackling some accounting issues and some education of engineers and also other things as well. The next, please. And in addition to those efforts, I think compared to other countries like the United States or Europe, as you already know, they are now trying to strengthen regulations. But in Japan, we have a higher level of regulations for consumer protection already. So even after the FTX shock, the FTX Japan money was separately managed. So we don't have we don't have much damage. So now we are still positive toward Web3, and we want to see a lot of innovation happening here. So the ambiguity of where the government is going is very low. The next, please. And also, the stablecoin regulation is going into effect this June. So Web3 space is getting like bigger and bigger. Next, please. So how the Solana ecosystem community or project may be able to collaborate with Japan? Maybe first option would be to work with Japanese large corporations. They want to do something, but like they don't know what to do. They don't have enough skills, knowledge. So it's gonna be a good collaboration of the overseas startups and Japanese large corporations. And the second, maybe just like moving to Japan to start a business. Some municipalities like Shibuya, Fukuoka, Sendai, they are willing to offer some startup visa to startups. And also in Japan, we are planning to introduce a digital nomad visa this year. So if once it's ready, yeah, please, I can visit to Japan. And the start things are the joining upcoming international conferences. In June and July, there are big blockchain Web3 oriented events are happening here in Japan. So if you can come here, it's going to be easier to collaborate with Japanese community. So if you have if you want to have more information, please see those slides as well. And then next, please. And we are also happy to have some questions and then have some like talks with you. Yeah, that's for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming on. Drop a little W in the chat here. For a government that gets it, you know, there's not a lot of government officials out in the world who kind of get it, are coming with like sensible policies, right? Like it is not great to have no regulation. I'm not one of those no regulation guys. You know, the regulation saved a lot of FTX customers in Japan, but sensible regulation around payments is great. And I have to warn you a little bit. You might have a bunch of Solana degens moving to Japan soon, because I see a lot of interest in that remote worker visa as well. So who knows what we've opened up here, but thank you so much for coming on. It's a great honor to have you. And thanks for staying up so late as well. Folks, go check out
Thank you
Japan.
so
Try to go to
much.
those conferences if you can. I know there's a bunch of founders out there as well. I think if I'm not mistaken, the Orca team has a presence out there, UXD and a few others as well. So let's all shift over there. Appreciate you coming out once again. Thank you. So with that said, now that we're all feeling kind of warm and fuzzy about like, the future of this planet, because countries can actually get it and where we're going, I want to do something else that'll make us feel even warmer and even fuzzier, which is a little Twitter raid. So if it's your first time here, we like to do this once per call, which is just brighten someone's day. This time we found this guy, Carol Soul, who just has been shipping on Solana all the time. He loves to, he puts out data, he puts out projects, he's always replying, he's doing the hard work. And I think it'd be really cool if everyone who's on this call right now can just pull out your phone, scan this QR code, and then just hit enter. It'll actually pre-populate comment Carol W right there on it. Drop a little done in the chat once you've done this here as well. Okay, yeah, we got some people. I know last time we did this for somebody, they woke up with like 150 or 200 new messages, and it just blew their mind and made their day. I like the idea of this happening. If you want to follow him, go for it as well. Shout out to Carol, but do a nice thing and let's show the power, some positivity out in the ecosystem for those who are doing the good work with or without the regular appreciation and attention. All right, so I see shout out to Vishal Sam, for Hadi's done it, EJ's done it, Linda, thank you, Joshua, Abhishek, Dr. Sarin as well. Oh, nice, Diego and Lacan, all right, nice. All right, Domingo, Wick, appreciate all of you. I see you, Taki Soul, good to see you, graped out wherever. Bagya doing a super team member. Excellent. 1 XP for rating, says Cap. Shout out to Cap. Steven, you'll be hearing a lot more from him next call, I think. And from Vaughn and so on. All right. With that said, now that are people feeling like kind of warm and fuzzy? People feeling kind of good? Yeah, I think if we're ready to go on, I want to head on now to our next guest. And our next guest here is, he's a familiar face. He's been on the ecosystem call before. He's great on the podcast circuit. He was on, I think, the very first ecosystem call, if I'm not mistaken. Drop a little OG in the chat if you were here on the first ecosystem call as well. I'm keen to know how many OGs we have out here. All right. Yeah, I see Alice, Clockwork, Lara, Jimmy. Yes. Okay. We got a bunch of OGs. So you might have heard a little bit from him again. We'll do it a little bit different today. I would love if everyone can drop an OG in the chat now for our next guest, the founder, the CEO of Dialect, the app. His name is Ryan Gosling. Ryan, please come on to the screen.
Hilarious. That's too good. Cash, it's wonderful to be here. Hey, everybody. This is my favorite call in the Solana ecosystem. It's so much fun. The energy is incredible. So thanks everybody for being here and thanks for having us on again.
It's a pleasure to have you, my friend. And I got to say, for anyone who has not been paying attention at home, Dialect has been crushing lately. More than 1.2 million NFTs, which I wrote in my notes is not a typo because I thought that it might be a typo the first time I saw it. All in mobile and all free for users of Dialect. If you haven't gotten Dialect, it's a mobile phone app. It's a great chat app. You can get stickers, meet all your friends. Fantastic, really fun experience. Go check that out. But what I love most about what you guys are doing at Dialect is how easy it is to onboard folks. Dialect, I think, was the first app that we were showing all the creators in Dubai at the Creator Summit last month, because the stickers just seem to speak to people. So I'd love to hear from you, Chris. Like, what kind of stories have you heard from onboarding people with stickers? Have you been onboarding your friends and family? How are people kind of reacting?
Yeah, thank you, Cash. So this is possibly my favorite thing about building Dialect right now is that we built for crypto natives, but we obsessed over the onboarding experience, made it as seamless as possible. And then also created this new NFT category, NFT chat stickers, which for anybody in the audience who I think is probably relatively few who don't know what this is, they're animated, expressive, like the chat stickers you use in, say, Telegram, WeChat, and elsewhere, but they're NFTs. And if you have them in your wallet, you can use them in chat. So they let you own your voice in a new and really fun and entertaining way. And we built this collector's experience around them. So it's not just like get the chat stickers, it's actually collect and complete sets. And our users are telling us now that it's some of the most fun they've had since playing like RuneScape in like 2005, which is like not even a messaging app. It's like it's a game like World of Warcraft, RuneScape, these other like in-game economies. Our users have gone completely nuts with this since we launched trading about a week ago. The point I want to make, Cash, though, is that really seamless onboarding and a really fun collector's experience around beautiful art by some of our favorite artists in the Solana ecosystem and beyond. And this makes it accessible and interesting to other people. So yesterday, one of our most enthusiastic users told me that a ton of members of his family who are like over 50 years old are using Dialect and collecting and having fun with it. And like I've mentioned this a couple times on in some other situations, but my mom uses Dialect. I'm like, I'm really busy these days. I love her, but I don't teach her how to use it, and she figures it out anyway. And so seeing this kind of engagement around these experiences that we're creating, where Web3 is an enabling technology to just create great consumer experiences, like that's what we're all about at Dialect. If you haven't tried it, please go try it. Like this trading experience that we turned on about a week ago has been like incredible. It's so much fun. It's a little hard to find. Just open a DM with someone, tap the little plus near the keyboard. We're going to make all this a lot easier moving forward, but it's powered by this new tech we created called Smart Messages. And it's just like, we're having a blast. It's one of the weirdest messaging experiences that I've ever had. And I'm completely hooked, and I built this thing. I'm just like shocked. Anyway, yeah, that's the really fun thing here, is we're reaching this broader audience, Cash.
Are you at all worried about turning your mom into like a Solana degen? Like, is she out there like flipping stickers back and forth? Because I know people are like buying and selling these stickers, even though they're free, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, so they're free mostly because it's really hard to like pay for things in, for example, the iOS App Store. And so our users overwhelmingly are saying, when are we going to get to do payments? And the answer is soon. Right now, the secondary is alive and on fire. And just one other extra shout out for Kirill Sol, the Twitter raid that you did earlier. He's built these incredible dashboards on web. He's not even a member of the Dialect team, but he's gotten excited about it and built these dashboards. You should absolutely check them out. They're so much fun. It's Kirill. It's dialect.kirill.xyz. I think it's in the tweet from the QR code. And it's really this essential part of this trading experience. And so everyone's having a ton of fun using it. My mom is doing a little bit of trading herself, and it's all completely OTC and chat driven. I know there's a question in the Q&A on when a marketplace is coming. Only thing I can share is we're doing something there very soon. But right now, this is truly a first of its kind, kind of like social Web3 crypto collectible experience. It's all chat driven, all smart message driven.
Too crazy. I think, one of the last questions, or I got two more questions for you, Chris, before I let you go. So the first one is, obviously smart messages are crushing. Chat is crushing right now. I think a lot of people look at Dialect, including myself, and get very excited about the super app potential in the future, right? Like you look at the Web2 example, which is WeChat, which I think many people will know, started as chat. It's kind of like expanded to take over basically everything. Is that the right way to think about Dialect long-term? And, why or why not?
Yeah, I think we're careful not to use the language explicitly, because I think everybody wants to be a super app. And really that's like an earned title. What I will say is smart messages, which power this in-chat trading experience today, that's got people like thinking of like RuneScape and in-game economies and whatnot from the gaming industry. Smart messages can be used for anything. So today you can send and receive tokens like you do in Venmo, totally seamless experience. You can send and receive NFT chat stickers. You can trade them, do a proper, like you put up money, you make an offer, and the trade happens. This is powered by our good friends and their protocol, our good friends at Tensor. But we also have a buy now button. If you share a link to a Magic Eden NFT that's listed, it will unfurl as a link preview with a buy now button right in it. So really anything under the sun can be turned into a smart message. It's a fully open specification. They're like link previews, like the next generation of link previews and the Open Graph protocol, where you can put a button on it. And we like to say this brings Web3 into chat. And we think that is a major, major, major driver for the next bull run, is my ability to chat with my mom on Dialect and have her try things out in a social and contextualized environment. That kind of experience is incredible, and we're absolutely like thrilled to be working with the teams that we're working with. So dozens of new smart messages are going to be coming online over the coming weeks and months, and yeah, stay tuned.
Fantastic. Well, I think I speak for everyone when I say that's great. And we cannot wait to see him. So Chris, thank you so much for coming out. Shout out to the entire
Thank you, Gash.
team. I see people
and
out
thank
here.
you to everyone here. Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here.
Appreciate you, buddy. We'll see you soon. Go check out Dialect. They are great. Our next guest now, we're a little bit behind on time, so I'm going to bring on this lovely gentleman that you can see on here. It's hard to introduce this guy, actually, because he's doing a lot of different things, if I'm being honest. He invented the phrase, only possible on Solana. He's got the fastest Twitter fingers in the West, if you ask me. He's got the best beard in the North. I think that's pretty safe. He's got the most reliable RPCs in the East. And he's about to have the best podcast in the South. Check out Lightspeed Podcast coming soon later this month. Drop a little Mert in the chat for the one, the only Mert, who's going to be dispelling a little bit of FUD in Mert's Corner. Mert, how you doing, my guy?
Jim, thank you for having me, sir.
Oh, absolute pleasure. Let's get right into it because again, we are a little bit behind on time here. So the idea behind this segment is that if you don't follow Mert on Twitter, like, what the fuck are you doing? God damn it.
No.
What the heck are you doing with your life? So go do that. And then second, we want to get a little on-the-spot response, a little roast to some common bits of Solana FUD that you might see. So Mert, we found this tweet out here. It says a SWOT analysis of Solana. 3 major problems. Number 1, constant outages. Number 2, subject to mass spam. And number 3, lack of modularity. What do you think about this? True, false, somewhere in between? How does it hit you?
All right. Let's see. Okay, so for the first one, constant outages. Let me just calm down. I want to be nice and family friendly. Actually, I'm curious about this one. Constant outages. How many outages do people in the chat think Solana has had up to date so far? Just curious. Like, just give me some numbers. 8, 3, 5, 6, 3, 5, 6. Jesus.
Dozen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Okay. So the actual answer there is 5. Okay. So, and actually, I'll give you guys a link so you can check this. A post written by the one and only Richard Patel. So there's actually been 5 outages, including the one this year. And so, okay, like there's a few things to look at here, and I'm just going to try to be, nice and try to, give some insights that you guys can use to actually talk about this going forward. So when people say constant outages, like people think Solana's been down like 14 times or in the double digits, which is like blasphemous. It's not the case. Okay. So what most people confuse here is what's known as performance degradation. So in the past, Solana had somewhat of a spam problem where you could spam the validators and that would cause the TPS to go down. The chain would still function, but the TPS would go down. And so people just, for some reason, certain ETH people, let's say with philosophy majors, started, talking about, oh, that's an outage. It's not an outage, okay? That's by definition not an outage. It's just low TPS. It's actually similar to, if the fees on Ethereum were, higher than average, right? If you use kind of that definition, then ETH has been down for, quite some time now. Okay, so that's number 1. Most of the past events have been performance degradations. Now there have been outages, and the post that I shared there will do a better job of me than explaining the technical side of that. That's Richard. He's the head of technical gibberish while Toli's away on Twitter. Okay, number 2. This is an important one. So in distributed systems, there's something called the cap theorem. I'm not going to bore you guys with this, but essentially, one thing to understand about Solana is that it prefers something called consistency over liveness, okay? And so what that means is when the chain is in, a threatened state, let's say, it prioritizes correct data and it will actually stop itself to ensure that nothing malicious is happening. That's actually not the same as ETH. ETH will actually do the opposite and they'll favor liveness over consistency. And you guys actually saw this like, I guess a month ago now, where ETH actually stopped finalizing blocks, and like you probably saw on Twitter, like, oh, ETH is down and stuff. It actually wasn't down. The blocks were just not finalizing. And so what that does is it leads to forks and potentially involvement for social involvement. Solana explicitly makes that trade-off. So it's not like it's like a flaw. It's more like it's we do this by design. So that's what most people don't understand.
I'll get hydrated.
Yeah. I can just keep
FUD busting is thirsty work, man. We know it. Go ahead.
Okay, so that's the outages stuff. And like one thing I'll say to this is like there's no technical like flaw here. It's actually more of a culture issue where Solana just like shipping super fast, like move fast and break things mentality in Silicon Valley, right? Where Ethereum kind of does the opposite. They move super slow, which is good in some cases, but guys with short patience like me kind of get bored of that, and we just want to move fast and ship stuff and build cool things, right? Okay, so that's number one. I'll try to speed through the others. So, okay, subject to mass spam. Okay, so, I mean, like, this has been solved for, I don't know, 6 months now, I guess. Like, so I'm not sure if this was sent by like Internet Explorer, this tweet, but like essentially the mass spam problem. Okay, so what Solana now has are these things called, well, one, fee markets, but also connection priority via quick. I'm not going to get too boring here, but essentially, if there are multiple people competing for a single state spot of state on the blockchain, you can actually just add a fee and then prioritize your transaction over them. And what's cool about this is that unlike on Ethereum, where, you know, if you have a land grab by like cartoon apes or something affecting the, you know, transaction fees of like people trying to like cash out money for food or something, on Solana, that's not the case. Those are isolated instances, so you can still eat your food without worrying about apes. So the mass spam problem has actually been solved. Now, obviously, there's going to be, whenever you have something that's easy to use, you're always going to have incentive problems that cause spam, but that's an incentives problem, right? And I don't think the answer there is raising fees to $500 so that, you know, only Jeff Bezos can afford it, essentially. Okay, so lack of modularity. This one gets me heated the most, and I'm gonna hold off here, but essentially, this modularity versus monolithic argument on blockchains is complete bullshit. Okay, so it's just not true. It was essentially a marketing term. Jesus. It is essentially a cherry-picked marketing term to only refer to separating data availability from the consensus execution of a blockchain. Okay, that's like one very, very narrow pigeonhole definition of modularity, but it's not the only one. It's not even really the general one. If you actually think about it, you know, Solana is actually much more modular at the base layer than Ethereum. Most developers who chew glass on this chat know this, right? On Solana, you decouple state and logic, and so that's, you're separating concerns, whereas on ETH, that's together. That's literally the definition of a monolith. And like, I think a better thing to call Solana would be like an integrated system or like a modular OS system. It's the same as how Linux works, for example. You have kind of these interoperable functions and modules that you can use to essentially do whatever you want. Ooh, my cat just took a poo, so the smell is getting a little, weird. So let's go to the next one if there's one.
Yeah, I think for the sake of time, we might have to end it there. I think busting 3 bits of FUD all in the span of what, 2.5 minutes is pretty good. The cat, you know, it smelled some bullshit, and so it did a little shit of its own, I think, which is good. Drop a little W in the chat for our guy Mert, man. We're gonna try and do this every month if people dig this. We're gonna make this into some clips as well. Fighting the good fight, showing people the truth. Honestly, there's no other way to describe it. Mert, appreciate you for coming out. Just so people know, there were some other ones we wanted to get into, but unfortunately, not gonna have the time. So Mert is the best. He's fighting FUD every day on Twitter, so go follow him. Mert, what's your ad? It's is it at Mert? OX Mert?
It's Helios Labs. It's OX Mert _.
And Mert's hiring as well, so go get a job if you want to hear these kind of hot fire on a day-to-day basis. Okay, cool. Going on next, our next guest is, well, you know, it's not often that we get to welcome trillion-dollar companies to the ecosystem call. You know, today's a day of first. This is the first time that's happening as well. Technically, it's never happened. But today is a special day, and I would love if everyone could drop a nice big G in the chat for our next guest, who's Miss Alex Albano, joining from the Web3 community and partnerships team, here with 2 very exciting announcements. Alex, are you with us?
I am so excited. The energy in the room. I love the G's.
There you go. Google does. I'm not going to explain that. Alex, do you want to tell the folks about the Google for Web3 Startups program?
Yeah, so we've got 2 things going. And guys, the doors are open. We are open for business. We mean business. I'm a DJ in residence. It's really cool to see that Google is really moving so fast. So first of all, Web3 Startup Program. You will know probably from the press that we have opened up this new program. This program is exciting. We'll give you everything that you need to start up and then scale up your tooling, your infrastructure, and also your GTM, your go-to-market. So we do have an existing partnership with Solana, which is amazing. That means that you guys can access this program right away. Just go, there is, I think at some place, there is a QR code, just go and sign up. But maybe if I'm not going to, I try not to be boring. I'm not going to be boring, but I'm going to give you a little bit of details of the startup project program itself. So, yeah, there you go. Cash, you're so good. You're really good. Like, you know what you're doing. I like that.
I want to try.
Yeah, very nice. So you've got 2 tiers. One, if you're just setting up, literally you have thought about it, you're just thinking, how should I go about it? You can get free credits from us. Really nice. So you have to have an incorporated company. That's all. So startup, it has to be within 5 years, but I'm sure we're all we're all there on that criteria. And that's it. Like, even if you don't have any funding from anyone, you do qualify. And that's 2,000 USD in Google credits. And these are valid for 2 years. Plus, you're going to get a nice Google Workspace Business Plus. It's free for 12 months altogether. And then you're going to get additional opportunities to come with us at the events, take part in opportunities. Or I think you have to go to the startup program. If you're actually searching on your nice Google bar for a Web3 startup program, you will find the actual page with all the details. The second bit, if you are actually, that's the, wait, go back.
Sorry.
The second tier, that's okay, enthusiastic, I promise, I'm not gonna be long. The second one, if you are a little bit bigger, and you have already raised some money, which includes NFT token fundraising, grants from a blockchain foundation, equity, and just token raise, all of this is included, then you can access up to 200,000 USD over 2 years. That's quite cool. And it's between Google Cloud, Firebase. There is so much more. You can Google, see the details. There are Alchemy goodies, Nansen query goodies, and we'll keep adding. There you go. That's a page.
Yeah.
So make sure you take a look. If you are up for it, just sign up, or just join the community, and we just want you to have you part of it.
Fantastic. So that's the first thing. Drop a little W in the chat right now if you like the idea of Google giving free money to support Solana startups. Common Google W, people are saying in the chat. That is a fact. You can see it rushing through. And let's see, speaking of W's for Google, how about this one right here, Alex?
Yes, that's really a big one. That's a big step for us into the Web3 gaming ecosystem. So 6 days, it's not for the faint of heart. If you are a little bit jittery about taking part in a 6-day hackathon, then don't come. Don't come, absolutely. If you don't mean business and you don't want to actually hack with us, don't come. If you do want, however, get your hands dirty with all the best in the business, then come. It's based in Singapore. We're accepting applications. If you're coming from anywhere, we can facilitate your visa application. So just come, take a flight and come. It's definitely worth it. All the layer 1, layer 2s, Solana is a big supporter of the ecosystem around gaming. So I know that so many of you have really fantastic projects out there. Come and showcase them. We have an expo with 15 games, 15 game stations. Someone can just take up. There is I can see how to apply. There is a QR code in the slides. Otherwise, just go and Google search. It's very easy. Web3 Gaming Week, either Google or the Pit, and you can find us very, very easily. 50,000 USD in prizes and rising. That's going to be on the last day with tons of VCs in the room. I'm not going to name drop, but if you think that they should be there because they're big in games and Web3 gaming, probably they're going to be there. Follow our socials and follow the website for all the announcements as we disclose who is coming. But I hope I got people excited, because I'm really excited and bullish on Web3 gaming. It's definitely something that is gonna go and grow, and we are up for it. Google GCP in general, we're always been a big tradition in supporting games, and Web3 gaming is just so cool.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on and sharing that, guys. Google is doing some good work here, folks. They're another team that kind of gets it, a company that's trying to focus on community building, and Alex is at the forefront of that within Google. So thank you so much for coming on. The audience is going wild for you, Alex. How incredible is that? That's what happens when you come on and offer to give away hundreds of thousands of dollars in credits. People seem to like it.
Nice.
Fantastic. So we're going to keep on going now. I don't know if Ariel from Hivemapper is on the call right now. Ariel, if you are, please do raise your hand so I can bring you up on stage. Until then, though, I would love to bring on another guest. It's my pleasure to introduce this guest, honestly, because this is a OG NFT collection. It was literally the first NFT collection I saw on Solana, was what's coming up right here. It was always aspirational for me. It was like, oh, if I saw one of these profile pictures, I knew that this person kind of knew their shit and had been in the game for a little bit and were pretty serious. So please do drop a little ape into the chat for the new CEO of DGen Apes, Mr. Nikki Scans. Nikki, how you doing, buddy?
Good, Kosh. Well done so far, man. Awesome energy. I love it.
We're trying.
Be up at 9 a.m. on the East Coast here. You've got me going now.
There it is. Going a little bit too hard, as you can tell. My body is not agreeing here. So I just had a few questions for you, Nikki, because I think you guys are doing some fantastic work. Obviously, you've been around since the very beginning of Solana, if I'm not mistaken, like one of the first 2 or 3 collections that existed, right? For years now, you've had basically like 5,000 shareholders kind of like pounding on your window every morning, being like, hey, please do stuff for me, right? And I know that you guys put a lot of time and energy and, quite frankly, money into ways to keep your community activated. And I'm not sure if everyone else here knows. So I'd love to hear a story or two about, things that you guys have overly invested in just for the sake of your community. Show people how it's done.
Yeah. The argument of, are these customers? Are they NFT holders? Are they shareholders? I think the answer is, the answer is somewhere in the middle, but it's been it's a fun ocean, right? For these NFT startups to navigate. It's definitely a new world, right? Having, shareholders right from day one, is certainly different. I think up until this point, a lot of time on the, things on the website, community building, virtual spaces, merchandise, making sure that people's favorite thing, which is, airdrops, right? Things getting dropped into your wallet. A lot of those things started, as, okay, what do our shareholders want? Not financial advice. I'm not actually calling them shareholders, Japanese government, if you're listening. Just making sure that we, recognize those wants. And early, we started early back in August 2021, and we heard what those wants and needs were. And we were trying to address them like very literally over the last couple of years. And now, due to, having some blood, sweat, and tears and some time under our belt, we're able to, see what those requests are and find, okay, where can we merge that with what does a real business model look like? And that's now it's taken from August 2021 till now, where it's like we can address those, we can give, our holders what they want while also building, a real life business. It took some time to identify exactly what that looked like.
Yeah, but I think you guys are getting there now. And right now, one of the cooler experiments that I think you guys are doing is around this thing called opals, which I'm not sure if everyone else kind of knows about. But can you explain a little bit about opals and kind of why you decided to go with opals as opposed to like a traditional financialized token? I think it'll be like a good inspiration to a lot of other community founders on the call right now. I see some in the chat. I see some people who know about opals already. But for those that don't, what are you working on over there?
So we had something that I'm not going to get too much into. It was called the gold stars. And we iterated on that into what is now opals. We know that loyalty rewards is something that, a lot of NFT holders like demand, want, need, etc. And we agree, with the ideology behind it, right? Feeling like your time is valued. And it's like, why do I hold these assets? The issues with that are, having tokenized rewards come with a lot of other demands. It means that as a company, we're an IP play to a lot of this, right? We, media, TV, movies, comics, merch, all of that stuff is what we're looking at in the future. We cannot have our main focus be the price of a token. I think it would be crippling to our business with that. So we designed, the first loyalty reward program that works with, PNFTs. essentially opals, which we have. I advise you all, to head to our website. You can get the link to our website right in, my Twitter bio. Pretty easy to access. I'm sure you see it also right on the screen. And you can go to opal mining right there. And in two clicks, you make what we call an opal pouch, which allows you to receive opals. Opals are essentially, a non-token loyalty reward that is associated with your wallet, right? So it truly is, it's a number on a page, but we are able to spend it the same way that you could spend, like a Starbucks loyalty reward point. What's so great about this is, we maintain a lot of control of it. It's not liquid. There's not actually, dealing with any of the issues of having a real token to deal with, but we can still give you things, to spend it on within the economy. The also great part about this is as we interact with, we're going to call them Web3 curious Web2 companies, right? So that would not be Google, right? Google is fully into Web3, right? But the companies that are starting to be curious, things like a token can be pretty scary to them. So having loyalty rewards that is on chain but is not actually tokenized, I think is going to be a way that you see a lot of these companies in the next bull run kind of dip their toes into Web3 without wanting to deal with the token side.
Couldn't agree more. And indeed, I think we've done some nice writing on this within the Super Team Substack for people who haven't checked that out yet. Maybe someone can drop a link in there too. I know Akshay, who's on this call, is a big believer in that thesis. And I think it's fantastic to give people something to do with these loyalty points. I think it could be cool. Maybe, do you think we could give some opal to some folks on the call right now?
Yes. How did you want to do that with the POAP?
Let's do it like this. So everyone, in order for this giveaway to work, you're going to need to have an opal pouch. If you don't have an opal pouch, then you're not going to be able to get the opals. Good news for you, opal pouches are free. So go sign up for that. And in the meantime, drop your wallet address in the chat, and we'll pick about 10 people to send some free opals to, where people will be able to get that going.
We'll be generous with it also. We'll be generous with those giveaways.
We'll be very generous indeed. All right. So yeah, drop your wallet address into the chat. Go grab the opals over on dgenape.academy. You don't have to do it right now. We're going to give you, 12 hours or so, or 24 hours for people to finish that claim process. And then we'll drop them, I think, probably on Monday. Does that sound all right, Nikki?
Yeah, I see all the addresses getting posted. Make sure you actually make a pouch first, though. Otherwise,
if you don't have a pouch, it won't work, and we'll be able to look it up, right? So we're going to go ahead and I'll save this chat to make sure we capture all of these, and then we should be good. So look at this. New NFT or OG NFT projects trying out new things around loyalty that are going to pioneer, in my opinion, ways for Web2 brands to enter the space. We love to see it. Shout out to Nikki for taking over one of the most esteemed collections in the ecosystem. Appreciate you, Nikki. I think for the sake of time, we'll cut it off there, but it's been a pleasure having you. Go check out DGen Apes, go check out Opal. There's going to be a bunch of fun stuff coming your way over there. Okay, guys, we are already a little bit over, so I'm going to race through this last part here, which is everyone's favorite part, I hope, the work to earn part. This is the part where I tell you about all of the money that you could be making, not through speculation, but rather through actual working. That's why we call it work to earn. So first and foremost, we have a deep dive live right now on earn.superteam.fund. That's $1,500 for writing an essay, which is pretty wild, on Parcel. Parcel, super interesting RWA, a real world asset protocol for real estate. Please do go check them out. Shout out Tony from Underdog, doing some good work with them as well. I can see him in the chat. Let's go next to another great bounty, which is on Alpha Squad, one of our new offerings here, giving feedback on the aforementioned Camino Finance. $1,000 for the best feedback on that. Just go to alphasquad.fun to sign up for that. It's free to join. Srijan, you just put the link in the chat. Free to join. You can make some real money, which is fantastic, just by giving your opinion. Next up, we have the Helium data grants. Wanted to highlight this for folks. Helium was on the last ecosystem call. Shout out to Abe and the rest of the gang over there doing great work. New grant program for them, up to $10,000 on the data side. So please do go check that out. That is going to be fantastic. And lastly, we have this awesome job as a front-end dev at Phantom for $180,000 to $230,000 a year, which is crazy. So do go check that out as well. Apply if you're a front-end engineer. Phantom, obviously one of the OG wallets in the space. Looking for some talent there. I'm getting late breaking news. Tony saying that we have another $1,000 of bounties to build on top of the Underdog API. Need to make these on Super Team Earn, but they'll be up by the end of the week. What a perfect segue. This is your reminder. If you need help on your project, You need development, you need design, you need marketing support. You want to just build awareness. Go list your bounties on Super Team Earn. It's fast, it's free. It is not scientifically guaranteed to make you taller. That was a lie, but you know, it hopefully has grabbed your attention. Here are some testimonials. These are actually real testimonials. These are not fake testimonials, but they've been added to memes so that you will look at them and read them. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. This is another super fun ecosystem call. We do this every month, first Thursday. Tell your friends to come as well. As they say, you don't have to go home, but you cannot stay here. Shout out to Srijani, Yash, and Jaris for helping out putting this whole thing together.